Hey everyone, what do we got here? Yes, a lot of you are familiar with this lock. How many people have seen this demoing an exploit using a thin shim of metal, right? One of the classic bypasses in the lockpicking world. Not picking or manipulating, just taking a thin blade like this, slimming it on the left side of the third wheel, typically near the top, in order to slide into the lock body and get underneath the plate that controls the release mechanism in the shackle. As you may know, normally when operating this lock, you would release the shackle by dialing the combination, squeezing in, but instead we squeeze in on the shackle, rock hard on the tool, and spring it out, right? This is a classic. This has been done time and time again, and I could show you this against a battery of these locks, right? Every last one of these is vulnerable to this attack. Third wheel. A little bit tighter on this one. You can see it's a slightly different surface, but I can hit the spot, squeeze, rock. A little harder to get in there. Let's get in there. Squeeze, rock, and release. See, that one got a little bit more iffy, right? Well, what's going on here? Anytime you see a Master 175, or frankly a number of clones of this design in essentially a gold painted surface, that is one of their oldest designs. That is one of the oldest implementations, and it's bare metal underneath, right? Whenever you see that in the field, go ahead and reach for your bypass blade. Of course, I've got a nice Peterson knife here. We have these at Red Team Tools, but I mean, over the years, you've seen me. I've told people things like under your cell phone case, you should always have a variety of extra gear. Have some pre-cut shims, have a graph paper for measuring keys, and yeah, I do keep some of the little easy decoders and the like in there. They perform a similar function against locks like this. A little tighter. We're getting a slightly newer product in the release channel. Finding that sweet spot has gotten harder and harder over the years, but I can kind of stab my way in there. Squeeze, rock, and release. However, this fairy tale for lockpickers and bypassers is coming to an end. It's getting harder and harder to find in the retail channel, new on the shelf, locks that are still vulnerable to the old reliable bypass. And in fact, let's have a look at these. Each one of these would normally be absolute candidates for this bypass, right? Master 175, like the original originator, right? This, not the original, frankly, the Sesamee, the original CCL Sesamee was the first one to get this bypass. But now, the Sesamee lock, the new Master 175s, and even Brinks, even the Stinks Brinks, right? They had copied it perfectly. They have also copied Master and others blocking this attack. Try this if you don't believe me. I don't want you to go out and waste your money on a bunch of these. In fact, I'll probably start sending these all around to different people in the community. But trying to get in there, trying to get your tool, first they just started making the gap tighter, right? So how did people respond? Well, Ken and others started making the mini knives thinner. Ken has gotten this down to 6 thousandths. It used to be like 070 or 075. Now it's even smaller. The Rockwell hardness is dropped a little bit on the Robin's Egg Blue model, which is the new one, to try to get in and around tight spots, but there is a blocking element now. You can try to slide in on the right side, but that's not going to get you much either. How about the Brinks, the old faithful crud bucket Brinks, right? Can we get in there? Well, I can kind of get in here, right? I can slip, but I'm actually not getting under the plate. The tool, it's hard to feel. The tool is just curving away. And I can kind of stick in, but if I squeeze and rock, it will not release. And if I pull this out, sometimes you'll even see these tools badly curved over one way or another, because these manufacturers are wising up to this weakness and they are making changes. This is what we want to see, right? I mean, as consumers, we want to see this. We don't like to see this as entry teams and so forth, but it is the way of the world, right? Ladders and walls. Things get exploited. People try to, little by little, make their products better. So if you're out in the field and you are curious, the oldest of the old have this sort of almost yellow painted surface. Underneath is almost always going to be worn away to this kind of gray metal. Then they moved to a brushed brass construction, and you can see down in all the holes, around all the edges, you're not going to nick this away. This is a brass coated finish, right? The newest models aren't quite that. The newest models are sort of a painted process, or it may actually be an electroplated process. I find this to not scratch as much, to not reveal underneath that there is any sort of different material down there. If I really try to dig in, I can eventually start carving away at it, and you'll see there is some metal into there, but it is a different construction. And you'll really know it, though, if you try to jam your bypass tool in and it doesn't want to go. So good on you. You know what? We don't always see us on these kind of channels praising Master for anything, but I'll give them that one. Even though they've been phasing out the Model 175 and the Model 178, the black one, hard to find now, even though there are other products on the market with different weaknesses, this one, they haven't abandoned the idea of trying to make it a little bit more robust. But what's the title of this video? When Master closes a door, they leave open a window. And that is what has happened here. So this is sometimes called a shutter lock, sometimes called a hitch coupler lock. All of these things, they are examples. This is not the only one, but it's an example of what is called an unshielded padlock, meaning all the way in the back side of the keyway. If you were to look down this keyway with a scope tool, you would not see a flat block of metal or body of metal. You wouldn't see just the housing. You would directly see the latch engaging mechanism, the dog lock right here that actually engages with this shackle here. So this little slot shackle, boom, there we go. Normally, the moment it ejects, there is a little spring-loaded sort of piston that helps kick that shackle out, but this is not part of the lock. And if I actually push hard on it, I can get it to reset. And you can see behind there, that is the latch. That is the latch that if I were to operate this with the key, the tail side of the plug just interacts with that latch, pulls it down. You can actually see the latch moving, right? And if we pull it down all the way, it kicks out and releases the shackle, because this shackle has a little notch cut in it right there. However, I said when Master closes the door, they leave open a window. Well, a different tool, also a really terrific product, Ken makes this, Peterson. We're happy to sell Peterson tools at Red Team Tools, but there are a few others on the market who've tried to copy Ken. Sometimes you'll see tools like this called the Shank or the Quick Stick. Ken calls his just the bypass knife, or sometimes just the knife, not to be confused with the mini knife. How is this used? I've often heard people think different thoughts about this tool. For many unshielded padlocks, what you need is a really sharp, gouging tip on the end of this. Shank is not a bad word for it, because you're just stabbing straight through. You're just jabbing into the metal and just clawing it like nails on a chalkboard style, just trying to pull down, in this case down, on that locking latch. If I were to reach in, I'm going to push for all I'm worth and rock. Push and rock, just like that. Now, if you ever get one of these tools, either from us or from someone else, something similar, and you say, is it really working? Is it not? First of all, the little shutter lock like this, always a great test candidate. I find them to be basically always vulnerable. Go ahead and unlock it with the key if you want, and reset that little piston in the back so that you can visually see the plunger. If you can see the plunger, just picture which way. The plunger wants to, it's up here, we want to pull it down. That means I've got to jam in and rock down. I like the curvature on the top. You don't have to be messing with the pins or depressing the pins at all. Right on the edge of the keyway, just jam it in as hard as you can. And now we can even witness, even if you don't think you're getting it, you can witness that plunger moving just a hair. In this case, I got it perfectly. I try to go a little more slowly this time. If you're trying to learn, you're like, am I doing it right? Am I not? Am I in the right place? Well, let's have a look. Do we see that plunger moving at all? Jam and rock. Jam and rock. See it moving? Got it. That is all it takes against not just this lock. There are Brinks locks. There are a number of locks out there that are still what are called unshielded on the rear and still vulnerable to these kinds of attacks, old file cabinets and the like. I know that we all used to love exploiting the 175s, but that's okay. The 605 still out there, to make you happy with different tools that are also out there for your use. All right? Good luck and stay safe out there. So there you go. I enjoy this sort of stuff. I never really enjoy losing an exploit that I could use in the field with my team. And let's be honest, we're going to keep seeing a lot of those masters that are pretty outdated. They'll stick around in the field for a while, right?
Hey, it's me from the future with cool news. You know the news I'm here to share? It's that I'm freaking wrong. Well, not entirely wrong, but sort of wrong. I have, as promised, sent these locks to various friends of ours, and we're already getting reports back that, yes, they are considerably harder to use the bypass on nowadays, but not impossible. Maxi, right? So you got Max Power, one of the early guys. Like, he was the Sesamee lock guy for ages. Still kind of is, apparently, because he has been able to get the bypass to work. It's a much harder thing to push in there. One of the biggest tips, by the way, and he's going to put out a whole bunch of stuff on this, or he's going to send me clips and I'll put it out, one or the other. Getting that plate, that internal plate, to kind of play nice and wiggle around, you can actually squeeze the shackle, which helps release that plate even before the lock unlocks. So that was one of the methods he used in order to finagle the bypass mini knife still into the right spot. But it is definitely a lot tighter in there. It's very interesting, man. I love it. Like, people are like, oh, have you heard that change? We've been telling the story forever. How long? Oh, you heard they changed it. No, they didn't. They just made it tighter. And this time, it got me, because I swore up and down, like, oof, they finally blocked those wheels. Apparently not. Again, I haven't been able to do it myself, but I trust Maxi. He's a sharp guy, and he's been sending me these photos, and I'm like, ooh, Jesus Christ, unless he's screwing around with me, it's still feasible. So, yay, cool.
But yeah, I think this is kind of neat stuff. I enjoy being able to bring fun things to you. And speaking of bringing fun things to you, this is going to be the giveaway. Not this one. This one's feeling its life. It's going back in my kit. A fresh one. A fresh one of these tools is coming to you. So remember, if you're not familiar, look down in the What's It. I do have a mailing list now, much like CGP Grey has said. It's not a mailing list to tell you anything. You learn from me on YouTube. But if the internet gods ever smite me down for, I don't know, drinking on camera or swearing the wrong way, I will reach out. I'll say, hey, internet help. So everyone email YouTube right away and say, no, he is not actually a terrorist. Reinstate his channel. But the mailing list is what we use to do giveaways. So just about every video now that I try to throw giveaway content, and this is going to be it. So if you are on the list, you are automatically entered. I got that tip from Bosnian Bill. He's like, yeah, make it easy for them. Just click, there it is. Have a real address where they can, receive mail. And I've been giving stuff away for a while. I've been very happy to see some smiles and thumbs up from people who've gotten some of the key docks that arrived in, I think, Romania or something. It was so many of my viewers are overseas. Jesus, man, I'm shipping all this stuff international mail. But I'll do it for you because I like to. So yeah, win yourself both of these Peterson tools, or if you don't win, get them on Red Team Tools. We got them there for you. We got a lot of things for you. I'm a terrible salesman. I'm going to shut up now. I just enjoy showing you cool shit. So hopefully disambiguating the good and bad, vulnerable and not vulnerable Master 175s is kind of neat. And if you disagree with me, if you're like, dude, you are full of it, I could still bypass them once, tell me about it. Tell me down below, or shoot a video. Do a response video. Be like, Deviant is wrong, and I will prove it why. And I love that shit, because it makes me smarter. These, which are all supposedly not vulnerable, look for them if you're in the tool Slack with me. I'm going to start sending them to others. I want to see if I am incorrect, or maybe Jimmy Longs will do gorgeous cutaways of them and show the world why things have changed. But either way, cheers to you all. Thank you for watching. Stay safe out there. Hey, it's me from the future, and I have something extra to tack on in this video. You know what it is? It's this. It looks a lot like what you just saw, but it's not quite that, because this is made by one of our suppliers. A lot like the Peterson tool, reaches in the same way, hits the same surface, does the same bypass, but it does so at, we're going to say, almost half the price. We're still working that out, but look for it on Red Team Tools. We're just calling this the Quick Stick Knife because it is a long-handled version of the Quick Stick that we've been selling from our friends Jeff and Tina. But heck yeah, man. I still love the Peterson gear. I still think it's terrific. Feels really good in the hand, the big handle, right? This, you got to give a little more pushtivity with your palm on this thin blade of metal. But if you're up for it, if you have the strength in your hand to want to use it and pay, half the dollars, by all means, check it out. Red Team Tools, link down in the What's It. And, hell with it. This is also a giveaway. You get a super Whamodyne giveaway situation here where I'm just giving away stuff every which word. People have asked me, by the way, they say, Dave, do I have to register every time you do a new giveaway? No, the answer is absolutely no. You do not have to do that. If you are on the list for giveaways and such, you're in. You're good. You're golden. You've got the golden ticket. You're all set. So, want one? Maybe you win one. Want one and you don't want to wait to win one? Credit card time. All right. Thanks for sticking with us. I love getting a chance to bring new stuff to the market. I love working with the people who bring things to you, and I love sending you content. So catch me next time, all right? Stay safe out there. And if you do that, rocking your tool downward while squeezing the shackle can release the inner plate and spring the lock open. Ugh, hang on, fuck. Oh, it was almost there.